So welcome everyone. My name is Kim Tackaberry and I'm hosting through the Calgary Regional Consortia today. And I just wanted to start by saying that we're really excited that Andrea Dion from Ever Active Schools is going to offer this session today. So welcome, and I'll turn things over to Andrea.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome everybody this afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to my session and thank you for choosing me, knowing there's other options. So I appreciate your time and your opportunity to share this space with you. So I work with Ever Active Schools, and I'm just going to go ahead and start my slide presentation here. I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement and to let you know that I'm a health and wellness consultant with Ever Active Schools. I'm presenting you today from Wetaskiwin, which translates to Peace Hills and Cree. And I come to you from our ancestral lands of the Cree, right in the heart of located in the heart of Treaty 6 territory, which is the traditional territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, Métis regions 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the Inuit before us. I also like to remind you that we're all treaty people living on lands that honor all of our presence here in this time and throughout history and beyond, as at all one time, all our people on this earth were all tribal people. We honor the lands and those creatures living upon this earth, such as the winged, the feathered, the four-legged, the finned, and all the living insect creatures that nurture the earth. May we remain on this land and pay reverence to all the gifts that Mother Earth provides. So thank you so much. My Cree name is Omil Wapikwini Esqueo, which means beautiful flowering woman. And that is a purpose that I carry with me to encourage and empower youth to be the best they can be as a strong Cree woman. I'm a mother of two. My daughter is 20 years old in her second year at the U of A. My son is 18 and is finishing his grade 12 education, and I'm a grandmother of one and one on the way. So I'm super excited to share that my life and the work that I do, resonates beyond me and has been formulated through prayers from ancestors. So I feel like in some ways I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams, and I try to live with the purpose to honor my late father, my late grandmother, and all those ancestors that have prayed for my time here today. Ever Active Schools is a national charity, and we used to be a special council, part of the Alberta Teachers Association, but we've grown and we've become into our own. And so we've been able to work a whole lot more with stakeholders and partnerships, and such as Alberta Mentoring Partnerships, to work and to forward the work to support healthy students and healthy youth in the community. So much of our work deals with comprehensive school health, which I'm going to go into and see that framework and how that looks. But I'd like to start actually by doing some reflection questions, and we'll go on and you'll see at the end of the presentation how this gets to be. So from this presentation, we'll understand a little bit about student leadership and mentorship, and I'm going to use leadership and mentorship kind of interchangeably, because a lot of the work that we do, we call student leadership. But we also know the program that we offer specifically is called Indigenous Youth Mentorship Program. So I'm going to explore some of those aspects to the training and the framework, as well as share some of the successes we've had over the past years, as well as some of the challenges, because we all know we're coming from challenging times out of this pandemic. And so I feel it's really cognizant to pay mind to those challenges as well. So the first reflection I'm going to have you consider is to take some time, maybe put it on a sheet of paper, a notepad, or drop it into the chat. But what is one main quality of an impactful and an engaging mentor? So one quality that you see from an impactful and engaging mentor. Just have you think about that, maybe bank it for a little bit here. I'm going to move on. So there'll be several times throughout the presentation where we'll be doing some reflections. And at the end, we're going to tie it up really nicely, and I'll show you how that works. So our comprehensive school health framework is based on social environments, as well as relationship building, professional development, and enabling capacity building within the school environments. We also work broadly with health departments now, as well as other organizations such as AMP. Some of our work has allowed us to work with Alberta Future Leaders, as well as an opportunity to look at policy and development. And especially now with this new curriculum, we're finding a lot of the work that we're doing is about sharing strategies to implement the new curriculum, because we all know it's a point of contention politically, as well as an opportunity that we still have to move and thrive within this new framework. So we're looking at ways to kind of deal with the solution and offer opportunities for schools to find their way through it. So comprehensive school health. The work that we do primarily that I work to is for First Nations, Métis and Inuit students. And the work that we do is based on Circle of Courage by Dr. Martin Broken Leg. So we go through our programming and we identify different elements that help support belonging. So having a sense of belonging within your school community, as well as an opportunity to look at mastery. And so we look at that through capacity building and skill development. Perhaps it could look at youth leadership training. And then we look at independence. So not allowing, but supporting our networks and community champions to run programs and implement great things with the support of our active schools through an independent lens. And then generosity would be the aspect of evaluating, sharing, and celebrating in that aspect of that program development, how it looked from engagement to capacity building, to implementation, to evaluation. We really consider ourselves to be a full circle model with the work that we do. So this is a highlight from our Indigenous Youth Mentorship Program. It's a short video. It's a few years old, but it still talks about the full essence of Indigenous youth mentorship and why it's important. So you'll hear from the leaders, you'll hear from some community champions, you'll hear from some of the program planners, so the ones that are at the heart of it, as well as the kids, because the kids are what really matters about all of this work. So 1 second here.
Are we good with sound? Center in Callback on your buzzer. This is your time to have your voice heard. Okay, so the mentors know what games that you guys want to play.
The whole idea of the program is to have high school mentors leading the program, running the activities.
It gives them an opportunity to play as a team. It gives them an opportunity to learn about their body. It gives them an opportunity to learn how to run better, faster.
It's a pretty simple program. There's food, a healthy snack, physical activity, and then sometimes a cultural program.
We're gonna sing powwow. A powwow is our cultural. We dance for a powwow, we sing. Dancing represents our community, and when we dance, it's medicine to us. It helps us heal.
Why do you think Carvana imagined the Green Valley? Because
she's hungry.
and she's lonely and scared as well.
Man, our team is awesome. I think a mentor is a role model for the kids, I guess.
The sense of belonging is so important to these students because they might not always be getting that sense of belonging from the family or from the school.
It gives them encouragement to like go and do their own thing.
For a lot of the programs we run, transportation is one of the biggest challenges. So many of the kids have to rely on the bus system, and without that, it's a very spread out reserve.
Pretty exciting. We catch a bus home with the kids. Usually they wouldn't let me get off the bus, always talking to me and having fun.
Mentor means that somebody helps you, and if you're feeling down, they can help you with stuff.
What I measure as success is just happy, smiling faces. So if kids are running around and they're happy, if I see kids sweating, I like to measure our success on sweat and smiles.
Great, thank you for watching that. So how we look at our work is we look to fill the gaps. We look to fill the needs of the school community. And we understand that each school community is completely unique. You know, from community to community, it might be 10 minutes away, but the culture, the language, the dialects, some of the practices might even change. So we understand that. So how we do that is we respect the impact and the contributions of our student leaders. So we use mentorship and student leadership interchangeably, but we also honor their voice, which is one of the reasons why I find our IYMP to be so important and so essential. So we know that students are at the heart of achieving a healthy school community. We also know that First Nation students, graduation rates are very low comparatively. So we also understand that we're looking to build capacity and build role models within the community so that they have the self-confidence to shine within themselves, to be able to serve and to be able to provide role modeling to the little guys in their community. We also understand that they should feel prioritized. They are part of every piece, from training to planning to implementation to celebration and evaluation. So we look at that and we develop plans with our youth mentors and youth leadership programs. We also know that some of these youth mentors are sometimes just on the cusp of graduating. So in the past year, we've been really working hard with certified teachers to look at credit mapping and credit earning opportunities within our programming to support Indigenous mentors, because yes, this mentorship is a great program, but having a credit is something tangible, something that they can never take from them. That experience and that opportunity to get 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe even 6 credits from a mentorship program is so great and so much contributing to the success in their graduation rates. It was found that only 25 to 30% of Indigenous students that enter high school actually graduate, which is it's not a succeeding grade in my mind. We should be having 8 to 90% of our kids graduating, just like everybody else. But we know that's not happening. So we look at mentorship as a way to build and empower our kids to find that sense of belonging so they feel that they can be a part of that school and they can contribute academically and socially. So it goes to the aspect of student leadership being connected to social emotional learning. We understand that when student leaders feel empowered and confident, they're giving, they're kind, they're gentle, they're respectful, they're respecting themselves and representing their schools in such good ways. They go off site to go to different competitions, to sporting events, even just in the community, wearing their gear, you know, their school sweaters. They understand that they belong to something special. So we know that social emotional learning and youth leadership are so interchanged. And we also know that brain development of our youth and our students and our teenagers at that age are just grasping onto something that connects them emotionally, physically, and, you know, mentally, because we're learning about the emotions, we're learning about all of that. So we understand that all of these things in terms of social emotional learning, decision making, empowerment, they all play such a big important role for our Indigenous students. We also look at aspects of taking the contemporary ideas and placing them in an Indigenous context, and not necessarily indigenizing everything, because we're not pan-Indigenous. We want to respect everybody's culture, but we also understand that there's a blending of two worlds that has to happen to find success for our Indigenous students. So when we look at things like this from the Renfrew Institute that looks at zones of regulation, and we put little guys with braids on them, you know, that makes them connect with it, and it understands that emotions are okay. It's how you exhibit them. So this is just one kind of adaptation that we've used in our school communities. And it has the language there too. So you can tell, you know, you can tell, see all of the emotions there. You can see what it looks like. And it really helps that the kids really define if they're in the red zone, you know, that's a no-go zone. We just chill out, bring them down. And we look at that opportunity through our training opportunities as well. And we understand that so many of the kids know that attitude is everything. You know, I had a great conversation with my daughter who's in her second year of her education ever at U of A. And she said, you know, we can tell when people come into the classroom and they like us. You know, we could tell in high school. We talked about this teacher she used to have a problem with, and she's like, she didn't like us. She didn't like us. When we know kids are so honest too, they know, they understand. They will tell you right out. They don't feel like they are in a trusted situation. They will react, sometimes behavior wise, sometimes they'll just come out and say it. But we know that attitude is everything. And that goes both ways. When we go into our school communities, we're respectful of the culture and the nature of the community. We also understand that, you know, our Indigenous kids, a lot of them are shy. It takes a lot of work to pull them out, to even just get them to say hi. They spend so much time like this, you know? So when we look at that, working with our Indigenous communities, we know that attitude is everything, and relationships matter. Relationships and representation matter. So second reflection as we go on through this is, which is your favorite way to get moving? Which is your favorite way to get active and get physically moving? Just to think about that. So just a quick little game, maybe it's a walk, maybe it's a volleyball game. Okay, so what is your favorite way to get moving? You can kind of put this down and bank it somewhere for now. So going back to our training, so our Indigenous youth leadership training is based on opportunities to look at the medicine wheel through generosity, independence, mastery, and belonging. Totally messed up the order of those, but I got them all. But our training takes an opportunity for the kids to go off-site, to network with other students, and to have create almost a community of practice for mentorship. And so here you see I believe we had 6 different schools coming from Treaty 6 and Treaty 7 to come together to train, to talk about leadership, to talk about mentorship, to talk about what it means to be a good mentor, what it means and how important those people are in our lives. And when you bring kids together like this, you hear them speak from their heart. You hear them speak about what matters to them most. We can think of all of these things as our own as adults, but we also know that it's important that they have a voice as well. So our framework is based on relationship building. So we identify young adult health leaders or community champions to support the work, because we need somebody to guide it and drive it. And then we create youth mentors, or we recruit youth mentors to facilitate training. And so we facilitate training sometimes in the school as a 1 day or 2 day. We like to take kids off-site, just to have them an opportunity to experience, travel, mentor, and just explore. And then we look at program planning through that training opportunity. We look at what really exists in their community, what assets, what threats, all of those things when it comes to program planning. So we work with each school group and plan a program. And then we come back to the community and we look at program implementation. That includes, you know, between 10 to 20 weeks of after school or lunchtime or structured recess programming, where the high school mentors mentor to younger grades. Finally, we need to know that we're doing a good job. We need to know that we're making an impact. So we work through guided interview questions and look at evaluation and impact in our school communities. We understand from those evaluations and impact interviews that increases in attendance happen on program days. We know that academic success is encouraged through high school mentors when they're part of the mentorship program. We see the success in the kids. We see the connections that are made within the community. So we do this by working through a comprehensive framework based on a healthy school certification. So we look at assembling our team. We're looking at health priorities, the planning and action, the celebrating. This is all a framework that we take. I'm just going to quickly kind of go through this. So we look at what teachers are involved, what school staff, you know, do we need support from the kitchen staff for the snacks? We also need administrative support. The principals need to know what's going on in their school. They need to be a part of it. We also need to advise the community that this is happening in their community, in their school. We also need to let parents know, so there's permission and waivers for the kids. And the school boards, you know, through the chains of communication and authority, we know that school boards, once we have their blessing, and oftentimes in our Indigenous communities, we have to work with council, boards, leadership, administration, then the teachers, to make all of those relationships matter. Finally, we looked at identifying priorities. So we know for Indigenous youth mentorship, we look at healthy eating. We look at also physical literacy as DPA every day. So we look at those opportunities. We identify those priorities with the school group, the school wellness team, and the student leadership team. And then we develop an action plan where we create a shared vision. We have some goal setting for the mentorship program. We identify targets. Oh, look, we're going to reach grade 3s to grade 6. We're going to have 45 kids every Tuesday afternoon, right? And then we look at assigning tasks with our youth leadership team and our leadership team in terms of our young adult health leaders and our administrative staff to support the program. And then at the end of the year, we look at summative reflections and impact interviews to really know that. How do we know that we're doing a good job? We won't know until we hear from the community, until we hear the stats, until we know how many kids are taking part in these activities. This is the third reflection to consider, and it is, what is your favorite nutritious snack? So think about your favorite nutritious snack. Quick snack, doesn't have to be, too involved. So to think about your favorite nutritious snack. Okay. So let's move. I'm going to get everybody to kind of stand up because we do want to have this. Most of the things that we do with Everactive includes some measure of physical activity. So I have a story that I've written, and it is about my friend. His name is Napeo, which is actually how you say boy in Cree, Napeo. And well, it's man actually, but that's what usually we call our nephews, is Napeo. But I'm going to read you a story. And every time, this is one where you have to stand up. So every time you hear the word right, you're going to take a step to the right. Every time you hear the word left, you're going to take a step to the left. So I'm going to read you the short story. You'll probably travel away from your screen a little bit, but listen carefully. So this is about Napeo's journey. So one second here. So one morning, Napeo woke up on the right side of the bed. He would step to the right. He looked to his left. He looked to his right. And he thought it would be a good day to visit all of his gukums and musums. Napeo lived right on the res, on the left side of the highway, known as 611. Napeo left the comfort of his bed, reached right to open his curtain so that the sun could shine nice and bright right into his living room. With the morning light, Napeo reached right over to smudge and prayed for a good day. After breakfast, Napeo was right full. He brushed his hair, parted on the right side of his head, braided his left braid, and then braided his right braid. Napeo's mom asked him to go to the town site to get some neck bones for supper. And Napeo knows that neck bones are right down the first aisle, usually on the left-hand side of the freezer, right in the corner. Napeo left the store with his box of neck bones in his right hand and his Jello cup in his left hand to go see his first Muslim who lived in the next res. Napeo turned left down the old schoolhouse road, traveling past the daycare on his right and the gas bar on his left, and finally the RCEMP detachment on his right. Napeo needed to go drop off his friend's left-handed hockey stick, so he turned left down the winding road. He met up with his Gukum and Muslim and went right inside for a quick visit. Napeo he stayed for tea, and when it was getting late, he left. He wanted to see who was playing at the outdoor rink right beside the school. From there, he turned left towards his Gukums and Muslims. He counted the crossings and the cell phone towers on his left and traveled beside the highway on his right. Finally, he turned to his left, he turned to his right, and crossed the road. And when he finally got to the high school, he went to see if his cousins were playing, and they were right where he left them. The boys went right to the Gukum and Muslim's house, and had taken a right towards the bridge, traveled down home, and Napeo left. And Napeo turned left, they went right, and he went home. that was my left and right story. I don't know if you've managed to move away from your screen or not. And sometimes when I do that in a group and like in real life and we have a circle, it's funny because we'll start off with enough space amongst each other. And somehow at the end, we're all kind of all squished in together. So that's always a really good story to kind of get us moving and kind of a break for the afternoon. But that's our Let's Move. 1 second here. So some of the strategies and success stories that we had with IYMP, they've been so many. We've done so much work in our Indigenous communities, and with COVID, we even had some communities that were still running Indigenous youth mentorship virtually, which was really cool to see. And they actually gained a lot of skills in terms of post-production, TikToks, all of these things that, you know, are so relevant and became so front of mind through the COVID pandemic. So we've had a lot of great opportunities to share success through this time too. But this is one of the biggest successes.
And what
is the
Indigenous
impact.
Youth Mentorship Program means to me is that it gives more opportunities for our little youth and us to have a successful life.
Just gives you a good feeling and makes you feel like you're doing something right. So that's why I decided to be a mentor.
To me, it was just a extra credit thing to do, right? Then I met the kids and I was like, whoa, I could really be someone to look up to.
So before I move on, I wanted to share that Mitchell, the first young man, finished his grade 12 this past spring. I'm really proud of the work he did to get there. He had an extra year of his studies. COVID was really tough on him mentally, so he needed that extra year. So I'm really proud of him for finishing. And in our community, and I know this is happening a lot with COVID, but they had flags for each of our graduates. So Mitchell had his own flag. And so when I drove by this past spring, of course, I was in tears because, you know, I know Mitchell personally. And then our young lady from Picani, she's also in her second year of post-secondary studies right now. And Jacob, this last fellow here, he's actually in his third year at UVic, doing some amazing stuff in the Bachelor of Sciences program. So our success stories with our mentors are phenomenal. My daughter was a mentor. She's her second year of education right now at the University of Alberta in Native Studies. So, you know, we see the impact it has, and we see the impact it has in the little guys' lives. And it's something that can never be taken from them. Like Jacob said, it's an experience that just, whoa, you know, it is a whoa experience. So, like I said, we started initially with 3 mentorship programs in Alberta, and that was before 2019. And with COVID, in 2019 and 2020, we were able to reach out to 33 unique school communities. And what we found was that there was only a couple of them that made it through COVID, but that doesn't mean that we're not gone away. So for 22 and 2023, we're looking at reigniting the IYMP story in Alberta. And so far we've got committed to about 19 to 20 schools and 30 different health programs. So not just school programs, but youth empowerment programs that are based in the health centers of the communities. So we know our programs work. We know they're impactful. We know they're needed. We also know that they will live, you know, so we're looking forward to hosting our first training December 1st and 2nd. We have 90 students going to be hosted. In the year of 2020 or 2019 to 2020, we actually trained 365 youth mentors across Alberta. And so this year we're looking at starting with the big number with 90. So we're loving our work. We enjoy the impact that we make in our communities. This is also one of the work that we've done. We've done leadership programs where we've taken cultural and traditional knowledge with students, and they've earned credit camps through this. So this was a 3-week traditional foods camp where we looked at scaling fish, and they actually kept the fish scales for arts and crafts projects later on in the year. So these are things that we find that we're able to do based on the needs of the community and the assets of the community. So we had a wonderful individual, Chelsea, here, who's a fantastic land-based educator. And this was actually based in Enoch. 1 second here. This is your final reflection. So take some time to think and reflect on the following question. How do you connect with culture? Bearing in mind that we know each school community has a different culture and we all come from different backgrounds. So how do you connect with culture? Okay. Yeah, so I'll give you a couple minutes, couple seconds to think that through. Part of the way that we do our work and that I feel is so successful is that we have a multitude of amazing resources that we offer through shopeveractive.org. We also have resources like you see some ones that are here that are pretty pricey, you know, $350 for a DPA kit. We have tons of free downloadable resources that we have on our site too. And we also have an opportunity to come out to your community or your health center, your school, to provide professional development sessions. And we do it everything from staff connectedness to physical literacy to the new curriculum, you know. So looking at that opportunity, we have a lot of programs and services to support youth leadership and youth mentorship. 1 second here, I'm just gonna slide over to the next slide. There we go. This is an example of some of our adapted resources. So we have these amazing Cree or Indigenous Anamove cards. And so this here, this is a Blackfoot card, and we have them in Blackfoot and Stony and Cree. And so they go through the alphabet. There's different animals and different movements for each card. So this one here, it's called the Indigenous Anamoves, and those are free downloadables too. You can also purchase them. But these are really great opportunities to tell stories and to learn a little bit about the languages that are represented in your local region. Not finally, but our All About Me sheets are free downloadable resources you can access here through this sheet or through our website. And it really gives us schools opportunities or even health groups opportunities to look at the reflections of kids, because we know not all kids are open and sharing or like to speak out loud. So this gives them an opportunity to reflect on things about themselves, so things they want to get better about. And I've utilized this in youth leadership training, and it's so great to hear the kids. I mean, even the staff had remarked, we're like, I didn't know that about him. Like, that's so great. I didn't know, I wouldn't have known that if you didn't ask him on this sheet. And so having them acknowledged and feeling like they belong and their feedback is important. These are really great sheets. I love bringing them out with youth training. It's just a really great opportunity to connect with youth on a different level. We have them for Division 1 and Division 2. So for the little kids, we have a separate version, and we have an older version, older student version. This is our Anamoves, which is a more of a generic based set of card decks. And it also provides movement activities based on each animal. So can you be sly like a fox? All of these kinds of opportunities through our Anamoves. And this is a card deck you can purchase. The Black Movement story is something that we've recently got on our website. We have recently partnered and absorbed kind of Be Fit for Life. If you don't know about Be Fit for Life, we're amazing ladies that they had different segments around the province that provided wellness activities for health centers and schools and so on. So we managed to absorb a few of the Be Fit for Life and a lot of their resources. So the Blackfoot Movement story was actually made in consultation with Sandra Lamouche, who is an amazing hoop dancer and storyteller from Treaty 7 territory. And she's done an amazing job with this Blackfoot Movement story that's talk about a creation story, as well as attributing it to physical activity. So this is also on our site. And then we have other opportunities to embed Indigenous teachings in physical education. So there's some cards like this. We also have our outdoor learning resource. It's called our Outdoor Quick Draw, which is our one that we looked at for traditional games. I was really happy to support some of the work and development on that, because I feel like Everactive does a really great job of acknowledging the aspects of tradition and learning and Indigenous knowledge. So that's one thing that I'm really proud of to be a part of their team for. Let's see here. This is one of our most popular resources. It's called Don't Walk in the Hallway. And you can see it's a series of decals that are placed all over the school in the hallways. And it really gives kids an opportunity to look at creative movement, because we know kids can walk from the library to the lunchroom, that's fine. But when we incorporate even just the little decals, sometimes they'll jump to them, sometimes they'll hop to them, sometimes they'll be like, okay, this line is for grade 3s, this line's for grade 2s. And some of them have even gone so much to have like an activity center. So whenever they see a red dot, they do 3 squats or something like that. So it depends on the school. But we also find that this is such a great resource. Once we put it down, the kids can't help but follow the little trails that are around the school. And it is such a fantastic, I mean, I've seen adults, actually just the EAs sitting there playing on the Don't Walk in the Hallways too. So we know it's a great resource. It's so much fun. And it comes with handbooks to support the design as well, and placing and they last for a good school year. So once they place down in September, they'll last through. We also have our cold weather resource planner, which also includes tips for dressing outside, things that you can send out to your parents or guardians or grown-ups for students, right? So looking at that opportunity, as well as through our outdoor recess guide, we have a youth leadership component in there, so that if kids wanted to offer structured resources with youth mentors in that perspective, you can do that as well. And then this is probably my favorite one to play, is the social emotional shuffle, which talks about social emotional regulation, and it has an opportunity for cross-curricular connections in here as well. So I find this resource to be so good. I do carry it with me. I have my cards with me, and definitely something that I love to play. Like, they're with me everywhere. They're in my backpack all the time. And, you know, adults, I brought them out for staff development and professional development with staff meetings, and we played charades relay, and that gets pretty animated too. So I don't know how we can get competitive playing charades, but adults always find a way to find a way to make things competitive. So that's a social emotional learning resource. The final reflection. So this is how we're going to put it all together. So looking at those questions. So the first one was, what was your main quality of an impactful and engaging mentor? Well, for me, when I thought about it, I thought it's someone to have somebody that cares about others, right? And then what's your favorite way to get moving and be physically active? Well, me, I like to walk. I love to be outside. I love this fall weather. I love the smell of the earth right now. It's kind of a weird obsession, but I love the smell of fall. And then what is your favorite nutritious snack? Well, ours was fruit smoothies. We're a smoothie house. We love our smoothies. One thing is, how do you connect with culture? Well, I do that by going outside. You know, I really believe in the land acknowledgement that I say, and I practice it by being outside. So in a way, I've already designed my mini program plan for mentorship. Our mentorship program is important because it's important to have someone who cares about others, where we connect outside to nature on our walking path and fuel ourselves with healthy snacks such as fruit smoothies. So that's a program plan, just put together, just nice and quick like that. And if you can consider yours, you can go ahead and put yours in the chat, or, you know, just review how your program plan worked. See here. Oh. Sorry, I'm not sure what that was about. Kind of go through it. Let me see if I can find our ways here. Nope. I'm going to quickly skip through. Sorry about that. I know I was just about done here. Sometimes when you work off a template, you get surprises like that. Great. So to think about the session today. So just considering, I know we went through a whole lot from Indigenous rates of graduation. We talked about IYMP. We talked about student leadership. We talked about resources. But what is one thing that rocked you today? Even just considering this whole amazing summit, what is one thing that you will, a thought or an idea that you'll stick to? As well as what is one area that you would like to grow? Just some ideas for some mindful reflection. We're all about feeling zen and so on. So something to think about as you finish your day and these wonderful sessions that you were a part of today. I also wanted to remind you that we do have a professional development conference that we welcome students and adults to. It's going to be at Lake Louise on February 2nd to the 4th. And it is a wonderful conference that brings together educators, health champions. We also have a huge contingent of student presenters and student leaderships groups. And so we have an opportunity that we can connect and share in the beauty of the Rockies. And it is a wonderful opportunity. It is something that I am so proud to support. And I know if anybody's ever been there, you always want to come back. So thank you so much. You don't have to evaluate the session. This is just a templated one, but I wanted to share with you that the work that we do is so important, that we do not give up, that we keep going, we persevere with all of our might, and we know that the work that we do is impactful. This is why we're here today. And this is why the Creator put us on this earth. So thank you so much for your time. I think I'm a little bit shy of my time, but I also have that opportunity. If you wanted to share some comments or have any questions, I'll stop sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrea. That was such a great session. I shared a lot of your resources on Twitter as you were talking. So thank you. I love the Let's Move, and I really enjoyed the videos of your mentors and mentees sharing. So thank you for adding that in. And if there are any questions,
Yes.
please feel free to turn on your mic, or you can use the chat. And
Yes, the Macintosh apples, Kim.
I look
Thank you so
forward to
much,
them
Amanda. I
every
appreciate that.
fall. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no doubt.
so nice. Okay, well, we'll stop the recording and close our session for today, but thank you so much, Andrea. So many great resources and information in your session today. Have a great
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Always a
Yeah,
pleasure.
you too.
Thank
See you all.
Bye.
Don't be shy if you see me.
Bye-bye. Take care.